Okay, welcome to the third video in the Krita series with Con Emmanuel. So you remember before when I was trying to delete the mess that I've made, and I pressed the delete key and I got this green background because that's the color I've selected here for background. For some reason my delete key is not working. I did discover that if you go to edit, you can actually choose the word clear, and that little symbol there stands for the delete key, and it works. So it works from the edit menu, but it doesn't work from the keyboard. So I don't know why. But once again, if you have painted something and you don't like it, you can either press on this little icon here, which is the eraser, or here's a shortcut for you. Tap on the letter E and your brush will activate it automatically, and then you can rub it out. So the letter E will toggle between a brush and an eraser. Isn't that great? Brush, E, eraser. And you can see every time I tap the E, this little icon is activated, which is the eraser mode. So I thought that was pretty good. Then if you don't want any of it, if you've really made a mess, you can either go Command Z one by one, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, and get rid of it all one by one, or you can simply click on the edit menu and choose clear. And while you're learning how to use Krita, I didn't mention that you've got all these little shortcuts listed under the menus. So if you go to edit, you'll notice that cut is Command X, copy is Command C. On a keyboard, on a PC keyboard, the command is substituted for the control key. And then you come into this area here, that's Option Command V, Shift Command N, and that's how you read the keyboard shortcuts. But we won't worry about that now. Let's do some more painting. Now, there's two tools I want to show you as well. The brush tool and the, well, we used to call this the eyedropper tool. In Krita, it's called the color selector tool. If you notice next to the name, let me just zoom in so you can really see what I'm talking about. See in brackets, it's got the letter P. Let me just try that again. Where is it? Yeah, see the letter P? That means that if you don't want to physically click it with your mouse, you just tap on the letter P and that'll select it. And the same with these other tools. So the freehand brush tool, the letter B will activate it and the letter P will activate that. Let's just give that a go and see if it works. I'm going to tap on the letter P. Yep, that's selected the eyedropper. Tap on the letter B, and yes, that's selected the brush. And remember earlier I said that this is the foreground color and this is the background color. The letter X on your keyboard will toggle between one and the other. And why is that important? Well, let's just say you've got two colors mixed here, green and red, and you start painting with the green, but now you want the red. Well, instead of going all the way up here and clicking on the red, or that little arrow, sorry, to switch it around, you just tap on the letter X on your keyboard, and now you can paint red. And here we go again, X, green, X, red. So that's a really effective tool and shortcut to remember when you're painting with two different colors. Now, let's change the colors. Watch this. I'm going to change that to a yellow, and I'll change this to a blue. And now I'll paint some yellow over here, and then press the X key and paint some blue over here. Now, if you want to continue painting with one of these colors that you've already mixed, and you don't want to go back to the foreground color selector, you can actually hold down the Command key, and that brings up the eyedropper. And wherever you hover with your eyedropper, if I click on the yellow blotch now, that becomes my yellow paint. If I click over the red blotch, that becomes my red paint. So this is really effective down the track when you're trying to match colors and you think, all right, I've got my red. Let's hold the Command key down or the control key. Click on the blue and now I've got my blue, and let's click on the green and now I've got my green. So that's a really short, quick way of selecting colors that are already there. Now let's just go and choose clear. And now I want you to demonstrate some blending. So for this, let's just choose, what brushes have we got? Let's choose Let's go for a watercolor texture brush. Now, I've never tried this before. Is there a wet brush? Oh, look. No, let's stick to wet bristles. Yeah, play it safe. In your own time, you can experiment with the brushes. So I've got my brush. I will go and make it a bit bigger, right? And let's bring the opacity right down. And my first color, so the opacity is on 22%. My size is 254. So let me just see if this is going to give me, oh yeah, you can just see a hint of the color coming through. That's probably a bit too light. So let's bring up the opacity a bit more. Now we can see it. Right, now if I'm going to zoom in a bit closer, I'm going to hold down the space bar and the command key and drag my mouse to zoom in closer. So what I've got is a very light, transparent paint, like a watercolor wash. And that's because my opacity is set to 35% and my foreground color is green. Now, I'm just going to click on the letter X on my keyboard to switch the colors around. So now you can see the foreground color has been switched to a yellow, and I'll just paint in the same area and you can see some blending happening. Look at that, it's great. Okay, now when we get into really painting, you're going to need to remember how to blend. And the trick with blending is choosing the right brush. And let's just change the color. Let's just go for a crazy red. And let's just go for a purple. So two different colors. So now, again, I'm sticking to 35% opacity. Here comes a bit of red. And the more you press and drag with your brush in the same area, the darker it gets. Okay, so there's a bit of red blending with the green. Might work better with the yellow, actually. All right, so I'm just pressing and dragging. I'm going to press on the X key now. I'm just going to tap on the X key to move those colors around. Now I've got the purple, and you can see I'm blending the purple with the red. Now this is where the command key comes in. If I now hold the command key down by itself, again, every time I say command on a Mac, I mean control on a PC. So I apologize to all the PC users out there. Now with the command or the control key pressed down, I can then sample a color that's already there. And as soon as I click on my canvas, you can see at the top here, that's become the foreground color. So watch up here in this area as I click with my command key down. Now, why is that important? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because you can then sample a color that's already there and then blend further into an area. So sometimes you might realize, oh, I want a bit more yellow, or that's too purpley or not enough. Hold the command key, bit more purple, let's go this way. So it's back and forth blending and sampling. So remember the trick. It's choose the brush that you like, any brush you like. Okay, I've got wet bristles, for instance. Then choose the colors that you want. Then bring down the opacity and then start painting. And as you paint, you blend. So spend a bit of time experimenting with this technique, just so you get a feel for not just choosing colors and mixing colors, but also blending colors. And then by all means, click up here to experiment with different types of brushes. So this is just, it's a gold mine. There's so many different brushes you can use. I don't know what most of them do. Look at this, is a zany one. This one's called the blender rake. Let's choose another one. Come on, Con. Let's go for watercolor texture. Okay. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Pretty snazzy. Now, every time you choose a brush, I should have pointed this out. Every time you choose a new brush, the opacity goes back to 100. So you'll have to keep bringing that back down if you want to make it more transparent. So once again, if you want to change the color, you can either tap on the letter X to switch between foreground and background, or you can hold the command key or control key and sample a color that's already there. And then you can paint over the top. Oh, I don't mind that one. That's the watercolor texture brush. That's quite nice. But look, let's leave it there. That's the end of this video, number 3. Have a bit of a play around and see what you can discover. Okay, have fun, guys.